Spencer. Where's go and have some adventures? Where's go and have some adventures with Thomas? Where's go and have some adventures? Sodor's a fun place to be. Sodor's greatest adventures. Sodor's greatest adventures.
One evening in Knapford, Spencer, Gordon, Thomas, and Bear were there. As the sun started to set over Sodor. They were talking about the day's work. When the back controller stepped out of his office, he had important news. Spencer, I need you to go to Wellsworth Station to pick up some tires for the Yucatan of Boxfords. Their summer house, or as known as their house now since they live on Sodor, the roofs on their house are broken and need to be replaced. Please, I'll be sending you to collect the tires and bring it there since you're their private engine. Yes, sir, says Spencer. Don't forget, I did help build a house on Sodor before. Oh, you mean during when I found Hero? Said Thomas. Oh, don't mind me of that, said Spencer. Spencer still felt silly after that. Never mind, said Belle. But that was in the past. Indeed, said Gordon. Very well then, Edward and Philip are getting it ready for you. Mr. Factor walked back into his office. Thomas had a tease. Be careful on the line tonight, he said. I heard that the Jupiter box was gone missing. Gordon rolled his eyes. Oh, stop it now, Thomas. That's not even scary, said Belle. Thomas rolled his eyes. Well, or may not be. I know what is scary. The night. Sure, people could be scared of the dark, said Gordon. But what does that got to do with Spencer? Well, he's a pirate engine. They got lost in the fog one time. Don't remind me of that, said Spencer. I'm trying to be Spencer the Grand. Oh, come now, Thomas, said Belle. But Thomas didn't listen to Gordon or Belle. He just kept on teasing Spencer. Be careful tonight, Spencer, or the darkness could rise and maybe derail you. That's enough now, little Thomas, said Gordon. Spencer has some work to carry on. Well, thank you for the warning, Thomas, said Spencer. And with that, Spencer puffed away. Good luck tonight, said Belle and Gordon. And Spencer puffed away. Throughout the night, Spencer wondered to himself, what if Thomas was right? The dark can't bother me. Sure, it may be scared some people, but how can it attack me? Maybe like a wolf or something like that would do. Something like that, said Spencer. Besides, his stories are not really spooky as Salty's ones. As Spencer continued his way to Wellsworth. Soon Spencer arrived at Wellsworth. Edward and Philip were there as he buffed up onto the trucks of tires. Thank you for getting this train ready, you two, said Spencer. You're welcome, said Edward. Yes, said Philip. And you don't have a long way to go to the Duke and Duchess' house anyways. True, said Spencer. But Spencer started to worry what Thomas said. Something the matter, Spencer, said Edward. Your face looks a bit like scared, said Philip. Nothing's wrong with me, said Spencer. I'll be fine. Thank you for getting my train ready. And with that, Spencer puffed away. Philip were puzzled. Spencer puffed through the night with his trucks of tires. He was starting to get a bit scared. There's May got scared on that old branch line with Rebecca, but we still made it back to Napa with the surprise party, said Spencer. Besides, said Spencer, said Thomas, or be scared of this. This anyways, he said to himself, but he still went on. During the night, Spencer heard some noises. He heard a hurrying noise. "What's that?" he said. But Spencer thought it was something really strange. But it was only the owl, but Spencer didn't know that. "Oh, gotta go," said Spencer as he raced down the tracks. Then he heard some small sound noises, which was a bat. "Oh," said Spencer, "so I don't like the sound of that. Oh, I've got to get to the janitor's box as fast as I could." As he screamed as fast as he could, he didn't know that it was only a bat. Spencer went faster and faster. The tires on his trucks were put under safely and were strapped to safely. However, there was a problem. But Spencer hasn't been checked, and his brakes were not working well. "Everything be okay, Spencer?" But Spencer didn't know that his brakes were not working right. Meanwhile, Gordon was heading back to the sheds. He was thinking about what happened in Nafford. But he wondered to himself, Spencer did look a bit frightened at Nafford. I think Thomas' story has gotten good to him. "I better go look for Spencer, see if he's okay," said Gordon. As he then went to Timothy's shed, he went out on the main line to the track to Dr. Summerhouse to check to see if he can find Spencer, see if he's okay. Meanwhile, Spencer was still not okay. He was still a bit scared. Just then, he was passing Farmer McCall's farm. In the field, Farmer McCall had a scarecrow where scared crows. However, it was so dark, Spencer's lamp couldn't even see it, and Spencer thought it was like a zombie or something. "Oh no," said Spencer. "Thomas was right. All these spooky things do happen at night. The night is scary." As he raced off. "Must get to Duke Dot's house. Must get to Duke Dot's house," said Spencer. Spencer went as fast as he could to the Duke and Dot's summer house, or their house. Spencer thought it would be better to slow down, but when he tried, it happened. His brakes were not working. "They're jammed," said the driver. "We can't stop." "Oh no," said Spencer. "Help!" As Spencer raced down the main line, blowing his whistle as loud as he could. Meanwhile, Gordon was still puffing down the tracks looking for Spencer. "Oh bother, he must be way ahead of me by now," he said, until he heard Spencer's whistle. "Help!" he said, as Spencer raced by. "My brakes are jammed," he shouted. "Spencer," said Gordon. With a toot of his whistle, Gordon steamed after Spencer. Gordon didn't soon catch up to Spencer as fast as he could. He had to try and catch up to Spencer at the same speed Spencer's going at. Spencer was still tooting his whistle and Gordon tooted his whistle beside him. "Spencer, it's me, Gordon." "Gordon, what are you doing here?" "I saw you as a runaway, so I came to help." "Gordon, my brakes are jammed," he said. Gordon looked up ahead. "There's no way I could stop you in front of you," said Gordon. Gordon looked at the back of the train. "I'll try and stop you from behind," he said. That's what James did when Thomas was a runaway, and that's what Thomas tried to do when James was a runaway. when Thomas first came here, said Gordon. Gordon slowed down as Spencer went on. Point, said Gordon, as he went on to Spencer's track. Slowly and carefully, Gordon buffled up to the first flatbed of bricks behind Spencer's train. Gordon's fireman then went out and coupled him up and headed back to the cab. Right, we're coupled, said Gordon. Now, time to brake, he said. With that, Gordon braked hard as he could, even tried going reversing. The truck started to slow down as well. Spencer was starting to slow down as well. Spencer's driver tried the brakes again, and this time they were slowing down, even Spencer's brakes were still broken. Soon they came to a screeching halt. Oh, Gordon, thank you, said Spencer. Gordon smiled. Anything for a steam team member? But I suppose you're well fighting after all. Oh, Gordon, said Spencer, it's all terrible. Thomas was right. I heard all weird sounds. What like, said Gordon. Well, I saw a funny man at Farmer Cole's field, thinking it might be a zombie, and I heard some weird squeaky noises. Gordon chuckled a bit. You must have heard an owl and a bat, and must have seen Farmer Cole's scarecrow, said Gordon. Spencer felt embarrassed. Oh, bother, now my brakes are jammed. Don't worry, said Gordon. I'll push your train to Duke Duchess summer house, said Gordon. Oh, thank you, Gordon, said Spencer. And with that, Gordon then pushed the train to the summer house. Even though they were late, Spencer and Gordon soon made it, with Gordon pushing the entire train. The Duke and Duchess of Boxville were surprised. While Gordon was being uncoupled, the Duke and Duchess of Boxville spoke to Spencer. Spencer, where were you? You're late. I'm sorry, ma'am. Grace. I had trouble during the night, and then I became a runner because my brakes were jammed. Luckily, Gordon found me and stopped me from crashing. Well done, Gordon, said Duke of Oxford. Well, thank you, said Gordon. I'm glad to help. Now, come on, Spence. And now, said Gordon, I'll take you back to Timothy's sheds, and tomorrow I'll bring you to the steamworks for Victor to check you over. Oh, thank you, Gordon, said Spencer. Firstly, Gordon uncoupled the tires of trucks and moved them back a bit so that the wagon could unload them. Then he cut behind Spencer, and with that, he pushed Spencer all the way to Timothy's sheds. As Gordon was pushing Spencer back to Timothy's sheds, as Gordon then reminded Spencer of the time when Spencer first came to the island, and Gordon had to rescue Spencer on his hill. Oh, this is kind of like that, but instead I'm pushing you, said Gordon. Spencer chuckled. Oh, I still remember my first day, he said, as he chuckled. Soon they reached Timothy's sheds. The rest of the steam team were asleep, but Thomas heard them arriving when he woke up. He popped out of his berth as Gordon shunted Spencer onto the turntable. But Thomas came out of his berth and rolled up. Where were you two? Said Thomas. Spencer got frightened of your story, said Gordon, and then he became a runaway, so I had to help him. Luckily, I was able to stop him in time, and we got the tires to the Duke of Duchess Summer's house. Thomas was surprised. Then he spoke to Spencer. I'm sorry what I said to you, Spencer, and I'm sorry I got you into this mess. Oh, please, said Spencer. So I also need to take the blame for not believing your story very seriously. How about you two say it's both of your faults," said Gordon. "Thomas, how about you say it's your fault for telling the story? And Spencer, how about you say it's your fault for believing Thomas straight away?" Thomas and Spencer smiled. "Agreed." "Now, well, let's get you into your berth, Spencer," said Gordon. "Yes," said Spencer. As Spencer and Thomas looked at each other. As Thomas went back into his berth, Gordon put Spencer onto the turntable. Of course, Thomas and Spencer may have learned this. Of course, Spencer may have learned his lesson in the previous story I told you, as well maybe Thomas. But there again, not everyone can learn a lesson, can they? And I'm sure this time in this story, I think Thomas and Spencer have both learned the lessons about about, about spooky stories. I think Soda has enough spooky stories for one Halloween, don't you?
Let's go on and have some adventures with Tom and Norm. It is when Soto's greatest adventures.